Hi, thanks for stopping by to watch me, Leah, cook kosher. And today I'm not only cooking kosher, I'm cooking kosher for Passover. I've pulled out Susie Fishbane's great book, Passover by Design, part of that great series. Fabulous photos, and of course, how could this not catch my eye? It is her chocolate mousse pie. So I made it last week, fabulous, and I'm going to make it today a little more fabulous. Let me show you how. So to make a mousse, this is basically making chocolate mousse, but we're going to bake half of it into a shell, which is pretty amazing. Didn't know you could do that. To do the mousse, we are going to melt chocolate chips, Passover margarine, and sugar. So I'm going to have that over simmering water, stir it, and I don't want to get it too hot. So we're just going to stir it until it melts, and we'll take it off the heat, and we'll add our salt and vanilla. And don't forget, these and other great kosher for Passover recipes are available at leahcookskosher.com. If you have trouble finding them, go to the home page, scroll down the left-hand side under holidays, and you'll find Passover. Meanwhile, we need to work on our eggs. There are two parts to making the eggs. We have our egg whites and egg yolks. I have one mixer. So I like to do my whites first and then empty them into another bowl and then move on to the rest, because then I don't have to wash my bowl. Kind of lazy that way. So I'm going to go ahead with the whisk attachment, put that on, add my egg whites, and get those going until they're frothy. And then I'll add my sugar. Okay, they're not ready yet, but I am going to go ahead and scrape down any of the sugar that has sprayed to the side of the pan. And we're going to just continue to whip until it's very stiff. And I always say don't walk away from your egg whites, okay? Keep an eye on them. They turn really fast. You don't want them to dry out. You can see this is a very thick foam, not even a soft peak, so we'll keep going. The whisk pretty much sits on top, so that's pretty stiff. All those out. Okay, I'm going to set that aside, and we're going to put our yolks into this bowl. Not worried about egg white getting into the yolks, but I would worry about getting egg yolks into my whites. So I'm going to put those on to beat with the flat beater this time, and we want the egg yolks to beat until what they call a thick ribbon. So they get very light, and you'll see that they'll actually, if you lift some up and go back and forth, that you'll see a ribbon sort of streak across and hold its shape. Takes a while, could take 10-15 minutes. So I'm just going to turn it on, and I'll see you back when they're ready, okay? Okay, I'm going to give this a few more minutes. Meanwhile, my chocolate is nice and smooth, and I'm going to add my salt and vanilla and then we'll get back to this. Okay. That's pretty close. The ribbon doesn't hold its shape for very long, but you can see that it's very full. Now this is egg yolk, and the chocolate, although it's not scalding hot or anything, we don't want to cook these yolks by dumping all that chocolate in there. So what we're going to do is temper the eggs by just adding a little bit of the chocolate mixture. So I'm just going to pour a little bit in as I stir. And then mix that until it's combined. So you're getting a twofer here, you know. This is really just making chocolate mousse. So go ahead, if you don't want to go ahead and make the whole tart, just spoon it into cups and you have chocolate mousse. Now we're going to add the tempered chocolate mixture to the other. Go ahead and combine that. Sort of folding it. I don't want to knock all that foam down. Try to keep our mousse light. And you'll know when it's fully combined because it'll get nice and dark and you'll lose all those streaks. Should be one color, chocolate. All right, that's just about there. Now, I need to lighten the chocolate mixture with some egg whites. Go ahead and scoop some in there. And now we start the folding. I'm going to do any kind of your sponge cakes, nut cakes. Just fold, fold, fold when you're working with egg whites. Don't beat. Okay, I can see right off the bat that the egg whites are in a larger bowl, and I'm going to need that volume. So what I'm going to do is, rather than adding this to there, I'm going to pour this in. Now, I did increase the recipe. I'm using a slightly different pan, and I want to have enough to play with. I made times 1.5, and any mousse that's left over, I'll just scoop into cups or take a much-deserved break and go eat it all. But at any rate, so I made a little bit extra more. Why not? You know, you could get 2 desserts out of 1 effort. So just fold, fold, fold. Okay, this looks a little soft, but it'll firm up. All right, now we're going to get ready to put it in our pan. Be right back. I'm preparing my pan by rubbing it with margarine or butter if you're going to use dairy. And I'm going to put a little bit of sugar. And then I'm going to pat that sugar around. So we're not using flour for Passover. We're doing sugar. So I prepared my pan as per the directions. And I'm using this tart shell with a removable bottom. I'm not using a springform pan, but I know when it sets up and chills, I'll be able to lift that out and slide it off onto a plate, so I'm not worried about it. It takes about 3 cups of the mousse. It is pretty soft, but we're going to bake this and turn it into our crust. When you pull it from the oven, it will sink, but that's okay. And what I want to do that's a little different, I have a half bottle of cherry preserves left from my truffle cake. So I'm going to be putting that into this mousse tart after I pull it from the oven. All right, so we have half our mousse or so in the pan. I'm going to put it into the oven, bake it, and we'll put it immediately into the refrigerator. And after that, I'll see you. Okay, so here's our tart shell. It baked in the oven, kind of collapsed down. It's supposed to do that. And now I can fill it, and then I'm going to chill it again before I try to remove it. I was told that even this sort of mousse tart can be frozen, so that's pretty good to know. You can make it in advance and just pull it out a little bit before you start your meal, and it'll be ready to serve. See, comes out very easily there. So I have a partial bottle of this cherry preserve, so I think, ooh, you know, it works for the truffle cake, should work for the mousse cake. Let's just put a little surprise layer of cherry in there. Of course, if you didn't do this, you could serve the mousse with whipped cream and strawberries, ice cream if you're going dairy. So I'm just going to spread that out. It's a very thin layer, but that's all you need. A little surprise of that yummy tart cherry. And it is yummy. Now I have my pastry bag with a pretty wide open star tip, and I'm going to fill the bag, and I want to pipe my mousse on. Now I don't want to deflate the mousse. Load the bag up. Now remember, I made more than that recipe called for because I wanted to have enough to play with. I like plain. I'm going to go ahead and put this up here so I'm higher on my work. And I'm just going to pipe this layer of mousse on. Gives it a nice little finished edge. Okay. This I'm just gonna add to the middle. A little bit more. And I'll just pipe a little bit more on. Hear the air bubbles, but I don't want to push on that mousse too much. Get just about there. All right. So I'm going to let that chill before I take it out, but basically it's going to look like that. How good is that? Chocolate mousse tart with a surprise cherry filling. Happy Passover.